Hey, Dr. Rowe here, hope you're all well. I'm actually filming this live whilst there's a lot of work going on here. I just thought I'd give you a few pointers. I shall share this with you. This is the mayhem of all this is going down. This is all wooden flooring going down at the moment, and we've got shiplat Scandinavian style ceilings going on there. There's Jordan, who's heading up the team here, and he is shopping everything in preparation. So one of the top tips I'm going to give you here is actually when you're doing any sort of work like this, is very specific joinery style work, is making sure that you get the materials ordered well in advance and anticipate any complications or anything like that. A lot of people try and rush into a job, get people to site, and then if you're working with a team and certain materials are needed, if it's not here, you're going to have to break off and have them go get it. So one of the things when you're trying to keep the flow going, particularly with COVID, potentially we've got COVID part 2 coming up, it's making sure that you've anticipated any materials that you might need and plan ahead with that, because if you don't, then you're going to sit twiddling your thumbs. It's going to cost you to keep people on site. So I thought I'd just show you Charlie, who is doing some work for us. And in here, if I take you through, we have got a wet room going. Charlie, can I grab you for a minute? Say hi.
Hello.
So what we've got is a wet room happening here, and you can buy a tray, which is a lot easier, but we wanted to create a bespoke wet room so that it has a much more open space. Charlie, a lot of people working with joiners aren't sure what to do, what to look for. Can you give us some top tips on something like this? Because this is very much a specialised thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first one of these I've actually done, so I'm not going to act like I know everything about them.
Yeah, but the good thing is with you've done so many different factors like this. It's different sort of.
It's all these sort of little bits where you just got to keep in mind the structure of it, what's going on top of it, and how everything's going to affect it. Like if there's any bounce, then it could end up showing in the grout in the tiles.
So we've got a screeded floor, correct?
Yeah.
And we've got, what is it, 1.2, it's probably about 1.5 to 1.
That's 1.3, 1.7 this way, sorry, and 1.3 that way.
Right, and we've got a 1 in 60 fall. So Charlie needed to know exactly what the fall was. It can't be too steep because that's going to be an issue with the tiler.
Yeah, you don't want it going too steep because also it's a slip hazard. Like you're going to be walking on your finished tiles, having a shower, and if it's too much, you're going to step on the wrong place and you're going to go.
Equally, if it's too shallow, you're going to be in trouble as well. So the sort of general rules are 1 in 60 to 1 in 80, which gives us, in this case, we've got a 20mm drop between the edge of the tiles here. And if you notice, Charlie's literally brought all that down. Explain why there's so much support here, Charlie.
So basically what's going on top of this is you've got 18mm ply and then you've got this Marmox board, which is basically this stuff.
And this is a waterproof board.
Yeah, it's really clever stuff actually. It's like cement. You get it wet and it goes completely solid. So it's quite interesting.
And
stuff.
Easy to fit, lightweight, and we're going to have a waterproof tanking on the inside of this as well. 18mm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see a lot of builders try and skimp away with thinner stuff. What's the danger of that?
You always want to get the thicker stuff because that means that to be fair, this is like completely. There's a lot of support here.
Yeah, I mean, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
And you weigh how much?
I'd rather not talk about it after lockdown.
After lockdown, brilliant. So, as much as you could skimp on this, the danger is we put ply and then it flexes.
Yeah.
And then the problem.
So you basically want the ply being as solid as possible, and then on top of that you've got the cement board, and then on top of that you've got the tile base and everything, which
waterproof seams.
Yeah, if you don't have that support under it, you can end up with, as I say, the grout lines cracking and weak spots going all around. In extreme cases, it might end up tiles cracking, but that's.
Another question I've got for you is who else needs to be involved in this? So if somebody's watching this and they're thinking, who else do I need to be talking to? You've got access here.
Yeah, so basically what I've done with this for now is it's almost like a turret roof. So you've got all the joins quite tight into each other, but they're going to get all marked out to what I need to cut, because at the moment I'm not too sure what I need to cut out.
Right, if I show everybody, we've got going in here we've got one of these, which is basically a shower tray, and that's going to sit over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to sit somewhere, but in the pictures of the last ones, it looked like it was somewhere above these bits. So I think there's a pipe coming through.
There's a trap goes there, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to take
So the plumber's in tomorrow, is he?
As far as I know, yeah.
So the plumber will be able to look at this and give an indication of what needs to happen here.
Yeah.
We've got pipe work coming in here. So you've created a bridge over that. That's the drain out of where? That's upstairs soil pipe, I think, isn't it? That goes to a toilet upstairs. And then what have you got behind you there?
This, I'm not too sure what that pipe is. I think that might have been part of the original design for this.
Yeah, I mean, when the plumber comes in tomorrow, we'll get the final details here. So you're doing what then? You're actually setting this out ready for them?
I'm setting this out, so say he's got a pipe, obviously that's got to get cut down, but this will all be relatively flat. So say he's got a pipe, you can put the pipe central, trace around it, and then I can just cut it out as it wants to be, because I don't want to start cutting now for a pipe, because if I leave too much ply hanging off, it's always got that risk of, I know it's 18mm, which is very strong stuff. Yeah. But on the edges, you're still going to have that little risk of, especially in sizes like this, because they will be roughly with these sort of sizes, so you're probably going to have a size of about that. Yeah. Just holding you up.
And this is what? This is 3x2, is it? No, it's 4x2.
Yeah, but it's been ripped down to furrings.
Right, so it's on an angle, and that's important for everybody to realise. It might look parallel, but it's not. There's a fall going here, so we've got a 20mm fall over that length, and then that length, and the tiler will eventually come and finish that off. Brilliant. Any top tips? Any final tips on stuff like this? From your perspective, is it important to talk with the client? Because some people just assume.
It's always important to know that the person who's working for you puts their heart into the job, because that means that you won't end up with any callbacks because they look back on the job after it and they're happy with it themselves.
So rather than just smash on and then screw it up, it's better just to communicate.
Yeah, exactly. And with experience and some things, this sort of idea, this came from turret roofs, which is something that I've seen done before, and it just means you're going to get really nice, accurate cut for the pipe. Yeah.
And for me, more importantly, I can trampoline up and down here.
Yeah, you can jump up and down with this.
And the kids as well.
I'll put money on it, you won't be going anywhere.
Brilliant. Appreciate that, Charlie. Thanks a lot for the tips.
No worries.
So I'm just going to spin round a minute. Yeah, just very, very quickly. I mean, the other thing with this is I spoke to the plumber yesterday and got an idea from him what he's looking for. I think one of the mistakes that people make is they just assume everybody knows what's going on. So I get a lot of investors that I speak to who have had renovations where they're pissed off, they're frustrated because the builder has done something wrong. And I said, well, did you clarify what you needed? And I just assumed they knew what they were doing. But it's one thing to know what you're doing from, for example, a joinery perspective. It's another thing to know what you want doing so that it gets you the result you want. Here, this is very specific, it's very bespoke, and one of the things I made a point of is I don't want any flex. I've been into properties where literally there's cracking in the tiling, and this is a wet room type setup. I think British standards require minimum 80mm anyway, board there. So be aware of these things, don't be afraid to ask. And we had a conversation today about the fall, just to make sure that everyone was clear what that was going to be, because I don't want to be there in the shower in a month's time, only to find that the water's just pooling up. Any type of renovations, better to get stuff in writing, better to communicate with them before they start the work, even if it holds them up for 20 minutes, 30 minutes while you're trying to sort out a decision. Don't just chuck them onto it, get them going, and then afterwards go, fuck, I've got this wrong. Hopefully that was useful. I'm going to sign off now. Take care. Dr. O.